Hello viewers, today let's learn a new chapter of geography, that is India, land and its people, which is a syllabus in class 9 geography. Okay, then have you ever imagined that how the dinosaurs are being extinct from the surface of the earth? Or have you ever imagined how these mountains are formed? Or have you ever imagined why the satellites are being launched from the Sriharikota of India, not from the Northeast, not from the Madhya Pradesh, not from Jammu and Kashmir? Why this particular place called Sriharikota is launching the rockets to the space? Why India has chosen Sriharikota to be the launching site of these rockets? Or have you ever imagined how we are living, or how we are residing on the earth? What is the location of us? And if you turn on the mobile phone and someone asks you, where are you right now, you tend to turn on the GPS of the mobile phone and you try to send him the location of the particular area you are in. Okay, so how is it connected with geography? Today let's learn what is the reason, what is the main reason behind all these things. All these answers you can find only by knowing geography. Okay, let's start the chapter. So the name of the chapter is India, land and people. So in this chapter we will learn about India. So when we look at the globe of the earth, we can find India to be like this. Here the reddish portion is India, its capital is New Delhi, and we can easily see the reddish portion, which is the map of India. Okay, then let's start the chapter. So first of all, when someone asks you where are you, you tend to give the location of that particular area by saying that, hello, I am here by this or near that particular shop or that particular area. So whenever we refer an area, then we tend to give some referring points. For example, your friend asks you, where are you right now? You tend to say, I am near a school. Here, the school is being used as a referring point. So, if you want to say a location, if you want to say a particular place, you have to use a referring point. That referring point, when we turn on the mobile phone, the GPS of your mobile phone, you can easily know the location of your particular area. So, what is the full form of GPS? The full form of GPS is Global Positioning System. So it is there. How it works? There are satellites, there are geostationary satellites up there in the space. So they are constantly roaming in and around Earth in its orbit. Okay, so if you turn on the mobile phone, the satellites have their imagery of your particular location. And then your mobile will show some symbols of particular area like this. So for example, let's say you are here in this reddish portion area. So when you turn on your mobile phone, it will locate your area like this by denoting this very much symbol. You can easily understand this is the location of your particular area. So the friend will know where are you if you send this imagery to that very friend of yours. Okay, then how is our mobile phone detecting our location? This is a question that arises in our mind. Listen very carefully. How is the mobile phone detecting our location? It is because the mobile phone sees your particular latitude and longitude, and the point of intersection of latitude and longitude is what we refer as location. Then the mobile phone will show the particular location like this. This is the very intersection of latitude and longitude. Then a question came in our mind, what is latitude then? Then these are the referring points. Latitude and longitude are the referring points when we say location of a particular area or particular individual in that country. Then we tend to use what? Latitude and longitude. So whenever we refer a particular place in the map or in the globe of the earth, then we can say that it is the location. So here if you search Imphal, then you can find Imphal like this. In your location, it will show on your mobile phone or personal computers, then like this. Okay, it will show you like this. So how is it possible? We already explained. Then let's see what is latitude and longitude. Only then we can answer the question why India has been launching satellites or rockets only from Sriharikota of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so first let's see what is latitude. Okay, when we see the globe of the earth, you can find like this. When we see the globe of the earth, then here you can find imaginary horizontal lines passing through each and every corners of the globe. So these imaginary horizontal lines are what we refer as latitudes. Okay, so depending upon the area or the region it is passing, it is given many names. For example, the one that is passing through the center of the earth is called equator. So we already learned this one in lower classes. Okay, so this equator is an imaginary line which is a latitude passing through the center of the globe, and it is dividing the earth into two portions, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Okay, so there are many other latitudes like the Tropic of Cancer, which passes the earth in each area, in each value its value is 23 26 minus naught. Okay, so depending upon the area it is passing is given many names like Tropic of Cancer, Arctic Circle, then Tropic of Capricorn, then Antarctic Circle, like that. Okay, these horizontal lines passing through the surface of the globe is what we refer as latitude. Now we have understood latitude. Then let's try to understand the longitude. Then what are these longitudes? Longitudes are the lines passing through the globe of the earth vertically from opposite poles. It will join the opposite point. For example, from North Pole to South Pole, it will join. Then these vertical lines, various vertical lines are being thrown from the poles to the other poles, and that vertical lines are called what? Longitudes. Sorry. Okay, these are called longitudes. Then when latitude and longitude meet each other or interconnect each other, they form a position or area. That particular position or area will be called location of that particular area or country. Are you able to understand? That very meeting point of intersection is called what? Location. Okay, then when the mobile phone takes the imagery, the data of your location, then it will show where? It will show the place where you are standing. The latitude and longitude is meeting. The particular area is what? Your location is what? The meeting point of latitude and longitude. Okay, then meeting point of latitude and longitude is what? Your location. Then let's come to our question that why India has been launching satellites or rockets only from Sriharikota. Why is that so? Why India can't send their spacecrafts or rockets from Jammu Kashmir, Madhya Pradesh, Northeast, like that? Why is that so? The answer is that in equatorial area, if a country is residing there in the equatorial area, then we can find what? The value of gravity is somewhat decreasing in this area. Why is that so? It is so because the earth, when we see the globe of the earth, you can see the earth is somewhat bulges out at the center. Okay, bulges out, a little bit bulges out. Okay, so due to its nature of bulging out, the value of gravity will decrease in the central area or middle area, which is the equatorial or tropical area, subtropical or tropical area. So if a country is residing there, and more a country tends to reside in this equatorial area, the more will be the decreasing of the value of equator. So talk about India. So India is launching satellites from Sriharikota of Andhra Pradesh because Andhra Pradesh is more closer to what? Equatorial area. So when they launch the rocket or satellite, then there is much less chances of failure because the forces of pulling down by the action of gravity is much lower in Sriharikota than in any other parts of India. So that's why India is launching the satellites only from Sriharikota. Okay, then when we see India in a map, you can find, let's see where is India located. The value of latitude and longitude will determine where is India located on the globe of the earth. So okay, let's see. When we see India, we can see the neighboring countries of India, like Pakistan is there in the northwestern side. Then in the northern area we can see China, Nepal, Bhutan, and then in the right hand side we can see Myanmar, then Bangladesh, and in the southern area we can find Sri Lanka. Okay, and then we also see the islands of India, Lakshadweep Islands here in the northern side in the Arabian Sea, and then in the right hand side we can see Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay, so let me tell you one interesting thing about Andaman and Nicobar Island. Recently, 2 years back, there was an incident in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. An American reporter who went there in one of the islands of Andaman and Nicobar was found to be missing. And then after a few days, it was found that this reporter from USA had been murdered, or his body is found near the islands called North Sentinelese Island. Okay, there is an island called North Sentinelese Island in Andaman and Nicobar, where what is the interesting thing about this island is that these people are still living in the old Stone Age condition even now. They are not familiar about the modern ways of lifestyle. They are not familiar about the various diseases. They are not very familiar about everything that we are doing right now. They are using stone implements. They are using, leaves of trees to be their dresses and costumes. They are still doing what? Living with the tool implements. Okay, tool implements, stone implements, they are still using. And then whenever a helicopter lands in these Sentinelese Islands, we call the people as North Sentinelese people. These tribes are called what? North Sentinelese people. So whenever a helicopter lands in the area, then they will tend to shoot arrows, they will throw stones at these helicopters. Okay, then from then we can find that these North Sentinelese peoples are very wild in nature. Okay, And the world have decided not to enter there because they will not be able to, suffer. They will not be able to protect themselves from the ordinary diseases like flu, ordinary diseases like headache, ordinary diseases like cholera, like that, because they are living in the old Stone Age condition. Okay, then the world have decided not to enter here. This is a very fun of North Sentinel's Island. And here, in this Andaman and Nicobar Island, one of the IS officers of Manipur, his name is Asghar Ali. Okay, so he has been posted here as district magistrate in the Andaman and Nicobar area. Okay, let's see. Then, where is India situated? India is situated at a latitude of I degree 4 minus north and 37 degree 6 minus north. And the value of longitude is what? 60 degree 7 minus east and 97 degree 25 minus east. This is the latitude and longitude value of India. And then you can see here what is the total area of India. Then we can see 3.28 million square kilometers is the total area of India. And then what about the boundaries of India? Up to what extent is our boundaries extended? It is extended up to 15,200 square kilometers when we talk about the land boundaries. By talking land boundaries, we can see here, have you seen these blue dotted lines here up to here? From here, it started the coastline. You have to see from here, the upper portion of Gujarat, then came here at the top, and then including our state, Manipur, and then comes here. All the land areas, all the boundaries that has been engulfed by these lanes are what we call land boundaries, and it accounts for about 15,200 land boundaries. Okay, then when we talk about the coastlines, if we include that with the land surface, we can see here the coastline is about 75,000 and 16.6 kilometers, including the coastlines and islands. Coastlines here, we already know India is engulfed by sea, various seas on 3 sides. If a particular location or particular area is engulfed by sea on 3 sides, then what do we refer that very particular area? We refer that particular area as Peninsula. Okay, so the regions where Peninsula India is there, and that particular area which is near the sea is what we call coastline. So the coastline will start from here, western side of Gujarat, then Maharashtra, then it comes here like this in the southern area, then here up to here, the passage of Bay of Bengal area. Up to Bengal area, I mean. Okay, that is for coastline. And what does it include? It includes the coastal areas and the islands. Islands, by islands we mean Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So various islands is here, including I have told you the stories about North Sentinelese people which is there in Andaman and Nicobar, isn't it? These also included in the islands, and in the left hand side you can see the Lakshadweep Islands too. Okay, including these coastlines. What is the total boundary that is covered by India? That is 75,000, 16.6 kilometers. Okay, now that we have understand the latitude, longitude, and the islands of India, let's go back to next topic. Okay, relief. Next topic is what? Relief. What do you mean by relief? We can see the structures like these mountains, volcano mountains, lakes, basins, then river divide, then glaciers is there. Okay, you are quite familiar about these things. And you can find here streams like this, flat plains, and much more. Okay, then what is meant by this relief? What is relief? Relief means the difference in height or elevation between two points on landscape or flat surface. That means whatever there is forming on the surface of the earth, which is based on the difference, the relative difference in their height, is what we call relief. Then all these structural things that are building based on the difference in their height. What I mean is that, see, this volcano island, this volcano is much more lower than this mountain peak. It might be Mount Everest, the highest mountain peak in the world. So when we compare this mountain peak with this small volcano mountain, we can find the height is much in difference. We can see difference in the height. Then these structures form based on the difference between the 2 points of this mountain, and that very peak is what we call relief. Okay, now we have understood relief. Let's carry on. Okay, here comes the Himalayas. So in the initial starting of our lesson, I have taught you about a question how the Himalayas were formed. So when we are in childhood days, whenever we ask our elder people, Mama, Papa, how these Himalayas were formed, they tend to give the answer like that. Dear child, these Himalayas are formed by dropping some of the stones, huge mountains that has been carried by our Lord Hanuman. Is the answer correct? Do you think the answer is correct? No. The Himalayas are not formed by any deities or any of our superheroes. These are formed by complex geological structures, geological formations, geological processes. That process we are going to learn today. Okay, let's see. Here you can find the Himalayas being projected upwards, and you can see plates. in order to completely understand this, we need to know what are plates. Then to understand plates, we need to know the interior of the earth first. Okay, let's see the interior of the earth first, and let's come to the formation of the Himalayas. Okay, this is the scenic beauty of Himalayas. You can see here the mountains are covered with snow, and it seems like a abode of gods, isn't it? It looks like the home of the deities and gods. Okay, let's see the interior of the earth first. So when we slice the earth, we can see the interior of the earth, the layers of the earth. In the middle portion, we can see the core, and just above the core, we can see mantle. Are you able to grasp the layers? See the layers? Okay, then see it. Mantle is here, core is here, and just above that there is the crust. Okay, so this blue dotted uppermost layer is what we call crust. Here we are living, almost all the living organisms and almost all the individuals, all the minerals are being embedded here, and we are presently residing here, living here by building our homes. Okay, now that we have understood the interior structure of the earth, okay, one important thing I need to mention here is that in the upper layer of this upper mantle, you can find a semi-plastic liquid area called Asthenosphere. Okay, so in this Asthenosphere, the continents, the countries of the world are floating, and above the plates are these countries. Okay, in this layer of upper mantle, there is a semi-plastic liquid called Asthenosphere. In that Asthenosphere, all the major blocks of the world are floating here. Let me give an example of it. For instance, if you drop two wooden blocks in a boiling water, then the blocks will float and the blocks will tend to move. Okay, in that block, let's assume the block as a plates of the world. Okay, then now that we have understood these plates are constantly moving, sliding or drifting against each other or from one another. How is that possible? How is the plates moving? So there is theory called plate tectonics theory. It is in your text. Then what does the theory of plate tectonics say? The theory of plate tectonics said that the earth is made up of seven major and some minor plates. Okay, here you can see the plate margins here. The pink area dotted here, it is what? Plate margins. That means it is the boundary where actual plate it is. Sometimes we refer these plate boundaries as what? Rings of fire. This is a very particular area where often volcanoes, often earthquakes, and often major calamities, natural calamities are being occur. This is the location where you can find the deepest trends on the surface of the earth. That is what we call Mariana Trench. Okay, Mariana Trench will also be there in these areas, and these plate margins are the areas where you can find diamonds, golds, minerals, various minerals you can find. Okay, then the study of these plate margins is very much important. Okay, then I have told you that these plate boundaries are constantly moving and constantly changing, constantly drifting against each other, from each other. How is that possible? It is possible because of the liquid called Asthenosphere, which is there in the upper portion of this mantle, upper mantle. Then how is that so? How is that possible? In order to understand that, let's see. It is possible because of a convection current. Then we need to understand what is convection current. Here it is the what? Inner core, outer core, and this is the mantle, upper mantle, and just above the mantle we can see the lithospheric plates, or the plates that we are learning is here. It is floating in this liquid called asthenosphere. And then there comes a new term called convection current. What is convection current? These convection currents are solely dependent and solely responsible for this movement of these plates. Then how is it possible? It is possible because in this mantle area, upper mantle area, this semi-plastic liquid called asthenosphere, there are radioactive substances that of thorium, uranium, potassium. Because of the radioactive nature and the heat is being supplied by this core area, they tend to move against each other. The molecules or particles of these hot substances tends to move each other. Why they are moving? Because radioactive minerals, radioactive substances are present. What are the radioactive minerals? That of potassium, uranium, thorium are already there in this liquid area. So they will tend to move slide each other. Okay, then whenever there is mixture of cold molecules and hot molecules there, the hot molecules will tend to move upwards and the colder ones will try to settle at the bottom of the liquid. So whenever there is interchange of these things, I mean the hot one and cold one, then there will they will create a current. That very particular current is what we call convection current. Okay, so Here you can see the hot particles will tend to move upwards, and the colder ones here, it is shown with the blue arrows here. It will tend to move downwards to settle at the bottom. Then it creates a current. With the creation of this current, the one that is above in this current or liquid will tend to move. So from that moving, that constant moving of this liquid, the lithophilic plate or the plates up there in the crust will move, then will slide and will drift from each other. Okay, that causes the movement of the plates. Okay, we understand. Then if you ask a question, how these plates are moving, then you have to answer what? It is solely responsible by a current called convection current. Okay, then we have understood convection current. Now let's see. So in the initial age of formation of the earth, let's talk about 250 million years ago, that we call in geological age, we call it Permian. Okay, in about 250 million years ago, the earth was formed like this, and there are no other countries. There is only one supercontinent that is called Pangea, and one huge sea called Sea. One huge sea called Sea and one supercontinent called Pangea is there. So whenever there is a movement of these hot particles that we learn, it occurs, then it gradually started to break and it tends to move towards the northern area. Okay, that is called what we call continental drift. So this Pangea area is being drifted northwards, and then we can find here. So there was in 250 million years ago, and when we talk about the structure of the earth or the formation in about 200 million years, that is called Triassic in geological age, then we can see like this. When the Pangea is drifted, in northern area, we can find two major blocks, two major continents. Formerly, it was only one supercontinent. Now, in about 200 million years ago, we can see two huge continents called Laurasia or Angarland in the northern portion, and that ordinary one in the southern portion is what we call Gondwana. How is that possible? Why this portion is moving to the northern area, northern side? Why they are moving? It's moving because of the convection current. So you must not forget convection current. Convection current is solely responsible for the movement of these plates. Okay, the plates are moving, so the countries are moving. So when you gradually drift it, India will also be drifted from the Australian plate, and then it will move towards the Asian side in the northern area. Right now, India is in the Asian continent, isn't it? Okay, then you must remember this. This is for what? Drifting theory. Okay, continental drifting theory. Okay, then how is this drifting occur? Let's come back to the movement of the plates. So I have told you that there are movements. Okay, here plate tectonics. The word tectonics means movement. Okay, see, whenever we see the plates, let's see, for instance, this is the two plates. So whenever in the interior of the earth, if convection current rises, then there will be movement, isn't it? So whenever there is movement, there might be various movements like collision and then destruction of everything that is there in the boundaries, and then there might be sliding. That means the two plates are not hitting each other, but they are sliding against each other, and then two plates might also drifted or goes away from each other. Let's see, let's consider these two pieces of mine as plate. So whenever there is convection current here, it will drifted away from each other, and that is called what? The movement might be called spreading or diverging plate boundaries. So the boundaries will be called diverging plate boundaries. Here in this area, there might be divergence. There might be what? Spreading. It means they are not destructing, they are not collision each other, they are diverting each other because of the movements of the these currents, because of the movement of the plates. So there might be three tectonic movements. One is what? Subduction must be there. So whenever there is collision between a heavier one and a lighter one, I mean the plates might be, one might be heavy, one may be lighter. So the heavier ones will subduct in the just beneath the lighter one. So in that case, here let's see, this one is what? Subducting just beneath this one. Okay, that will be called subduction. And if the sliding occurs and there is no destruction occurs, then it will be called internal sliding. And that one spreading, it will be called diverging or spreading. Okay, now we have understood these things. Okay, then let's come back to the formation of the Himalayas. We have earlier talked about, and we are confused how these formation occurs. The formation of mountain in case of India, we will see. Let's come back to the mountains, the Himalayas. Okay, we have understood. This is a Mount Everest. Okay, see the beauty of Mount Everest here. The top area, the golden area, is where when the sun rises, it will show like this, and the entire portion, the rest of the portion is not getting sunlight. So whenever sun rises, we can see the mountain peak of Mount Everest like this. Okay, it is gorgeous, beautiful, isn't it? Okay, this is the Himalayan mountains, and let's see. Okay, in case of the formation of the Himalayas. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is the Himalayas right now. Okay, there are various plates. One is called Australian plate. and the other is what we call Eurasian plate, and it is more closer to Tibet, and then we call that the plate that is residing by Tibet as Tibetan plate. Okay, colloquially, let's say these plates, one is Indo-Austrian plate and the other is Eurasian plate. These will collide each other. Okay, let's see India first, in order to understand that. India. Okay, see the green portion of India, formerly when in the olden times, that too in the Permian years, 200 million years, India is just like this. There is no mountains or Himalayas. India is like this. So right now you can see Bhutan, Nepal, in this region, this Karbi region, Himalayas will be formed. But we are talking at a time where Himalayas were not formed. So when there is no formation, then the Peninsula India will be there, and no northern portion will be there. So let's see this Indian peninsular area. Can you see? Indian peninsular India started moving north. This area, I'm talking about this peninsular portion of India. It will start to move from where? Australian plate to northern plate area, northern side, Asian side here. How is that possible? It is possible because with the drifting of the continents. The northward drifting of the continent started due to the action of the convection current from the interior of the earth. Okay, so the whenever there is, drifting of Indian Ocean, then it goes gradually and then it collided with this plate one. Formerly it is here, India is being drifted from the southward direction to the northward direction, and this plate is what we call Tibetan plate. So whenever there is collision of the Tibetan plate and Indian plate here. Okay, so I let it zoom out. This is the Tibetan plate and this is the one of the peninsular Indian plate. Peninsular Indian plate collided with the Eurasian plate or the Tibetan plate. So whenever there is collision is there, these plates collide each other, and if there is difference in the density or difference in the weight or mass of these plates, then what will happen? I have told you earlier that those lighter ones will move upward and those heavier ones will subduct. Okay, so there is collision between this Eurasian plate and Tibetan plate with the what? This plate, Indo-Austrian plate. So whenever there is collision between these two things, then it collide like this. See in my hands, it collide with these two plates are colliding, and formerly they were like this, and therefore a folded structure. Okay, this folded structure gradually rise up. The folding goes on because of the pressure exerted because of the collision pressure, and then it moves outward like this. Okay, then this upward thrusting give rise to these Himalayas. Okay, now you have understood how the Himalayas were formed. It is not brought by Lord Hanuman. It is formed by what? The collision of this Indian Austrian plate with that of the Eurasian plate. Now we have understood the formation of the Himalayas. Now Himalayas, where are Himalayas? Himalayas will be there in this area, Karbi area that I have shown you. It will be bordering Nepal, Bhutan and India and some portion of Pakistan. We can see these mountains will reside here or will be here. Okay, so that is the story of Himalayas. And when you ask about the age of Himalayas, you will say Himalayas is young fall mountains. Now we are confused again. What are young fall mountains? We have not learned about it. Let's learn about fall mountains. It is called young because it is formed recently. It is not all. Here you can see geosyncline. What is geosyncline? Geosyncline is the depression on the surface of the earth formed because of the various geological formations, various processes that form the earth. In that, if you have, a depression, that means the portion that has been taken out, or the portion that is very deep in nature, very depth. If that structure occurs, then we refer that huge, depth on the surface of the earth is called geosyncline. Or we can just say the major depressions on the surface of the earth is called geosyncline. Okay, so the oceans are there whenever there is geosyncline is there. And then how the Himalayas were formed. Initially, these depressions were covered up by the sediments brought by rivers, oceans, and they deposited in this particular area. Okay, they will be deposited. The deposition will actually take place because this is a depression. That means the depth area of earth. So whenever there is depth, then the liquid particle will tends to flow towards that very depression. Okay, so with the depth flowing, sediments will be brought down, and then sediments will be deposited here. Okay, so they will depositing of the sediments will be there in this geosyncline. So if when the plates are moving, in the above slide we have learned about the formation of the Himalayas. So in that Himalayan area, that formation, that folded area, there is initially geosyncline first. So whenever there is the meeting of the plates is there, the convergence, the collision of plates taking place, that very particular area is what? Geosyncline. So with the help of this plate movement, destructive plate margins, the forces are pressuring these sediments to get folded because of pressure, lateral pressure arising from the movement of the plates. That make the structure of those sediments that have been deposited for years to be folded like this. Are you able to grasp my point? If here is a particular rock structure or particular mountain is there, so if you apply pressure on it, and if there is weak point in the above plate, then what will the plates do? The plates will tend to bend first, and that is called pressure. Then shearing will be occur, stress will be there. So whenever there is extreme stress is there, it will break, isn't it? So before breaking, it will fall. So whenever there is convergence or destructive plate margins is there, because of the movement of plates, it will collide each other. And then whenever there is weak surface is there, in this case, weak surface is what the sediments formed by this in this geosyncline. Then it will fall. Then there is a new formation, isn't it? New formation, because the oceans, the rivers have been forming this for years. This is not a very long process. This is not there formally. So it will be called young one, because it is formation is very young and its folding is young. So the Himalayas are what? Young fall mountains. Okay, now that we have understood young fall mountains, what I want you is that you prepare all these things, and this will come in exam. It will be asked, and it is very important not only for your exam. So those who want to clear civil services and those who want to give various examinations, these will be asked, and this is a must. If you are a geography student, then you have to know all these things. So prepare this at home and stay tuned, and I will bring you more exciting lessons later on. Thank you very much for joining me. Stay tuned. Bye bye. See you later. Thank you.